no one wants to be sold to 100% of the time. So create personable, relatable content, things that people can connect with. Really think about what are your biggest driving purchases? And you want to kind of linger them throughout the store. For example, when you walk in, you want to showcase something that is a super popular item. So that way you catch the consumer's eye as quick as possible.
How would you, as a small business owner, want to maximize that capability to compete with those big dogs like Amazon and Walmart and Target?
Make the relationship personal. There's nothing better than seeing a handwritten thank you.
Absolutely.
The employee's name or the business owner's name.
How can you be an effective promotion creator?
Definitely focus on loyalty because loyalty drives repeat customers. It drives increased profitability because generally those loyalty type customers are spending a larger ticket.
Hey, Amanda, I'm so excited to get this interview going today. I can recall 4 years ago when you first interviewed me for the product specialist role here at Global Payments and just where that has taken my career. And I am so thankful for you. One of the things that I love working with Amanda on is that she's always leading the forefront of small businesses. And what I mean by that is she's never changed her scope of what it is that we do here at Global Payments. And that is really focusing on small businesses and making sure that their businesses succeed. Amanda is an advocate for small businesses day in and day out. And it is such an inspiration to see her shine in everything that she does. So Amanda, let's go ahead and get started. Today's topic is holiday. Are you ready for this one? Holidays are always a make or break situation for small business owners. And I think it's important that we first dive into getting started early. When would you say is a good time to start prepping for the holiday season?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
In reality, what we're talking about here is making sure that your clientele is ready to shop with you. And in reality, while we might be thinking, oh, the holidays are a few months away, you have to start prepping now to provide them the best shopping experience. And by that, it means starting to look at your inventory, making sure that you've gone to the appropriate markets or that you've scoped the kind of products that you want to carry in your store, that you've checked their stock availability so that you get it ordered ahead of time and ensure that you have the financial means to stock your shelves and the proper staffing and all the things that you need to really deliver through the holiday season so that you can make the most bang.
That's awesome. So whenever we're talking about getting ready for the holiday season, a lot of that is, like you said, stock, inventory levels, making an environment that is encompassing to all people and really bringing in this feel or this holiday spirit that oftentimes goes by so quickly. So my question for you for the first thing is, let's talk a little bit about inventory. Marketplace, right? Holiday marketplaces can be really, really scary for some small business owners, or it can be really exciting for other small business owners. What tips and tricks do you have for small businesses to really execute and make sure that they're hitting their inventory levels on those marketplace days?
Yeah, so I would always suggest that a merchant looks back at their sales history from the prior year to really make sure that they know their business, know kind of what products were selling well for them, maybe which ones weren't as much. And as they go to look for inventory, they're really trying to target those items that have the most profitability that they can spin in their store and bring in foot traffic. You always want to make sure that you have a variety of things that you can provide, but also with shipping. Nowadays, you want to make sure that you can get your product in a timely manner so that your shelves don't go dry during the holiday season. And so you want to make sure that you have a strategic approach to even maybe how you stock your shelves. So maybe it means that you go ahead and purchase inventory in bulk ahead of time, but maybe then you only bring out certain items and collections as they hit the floor. That's been super popular, I've seen over the last several years, is providing these themed collections and really targeting towards a certain type of merchant for those collections. And it helps to bring them through the door.
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about themed collections and the importance of creating a vision whenever we're really diving into storytelling of the business. So with themed collections such as giftable items, oftentimes showcasing them together, what are some tips and tricks that you have around understanding themes and how we can incorporate that into a small businesses?
Yeah, so I think you can think of themes in many different ways, but obviously, some holiday collections that come to mind would be Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas. Those are three really easy collections that you could establish and center around to try to provide something that caters towards that. And then additionally, like I've seen a lot of faith inspired collections, or I've seen Western inspired collections, or some groovy inspired collections where they might have, fun, vivid colors and peace signs and smiley faces. But the whole collection really is an assortment of different products that kind of fit that vision so that when you launch those things, those certain customers who are drawn to that specific item want to engage more and they want, a lot of times like, all the pieces from the entire collection. And so it's really finding your niche within how you can bring customers to you based upon like those collections. Like with football season coming up, that would be a great one to target for, different.
Mm.
You have high school football, you have college football, you have professional football. There's so many different levels of it. And so you can really find ways that you can target that market and put something out there in the industry to attract sellers.
That's awesome. I think understanding the events of coming up and planning and prepping for those events can really take a small business into the next level. As we've talked through conversations with other guests, I've learned so much around this idea of creating an environment that is encompassing of all people, all customers. But really, I'd like to know a little bit about culture. And let's talk a little bit about the store culture. So, what does culture builder mean to you in the context of leading teams and brands in your store?
Yeah, so I really think that it's important for every store to identify who they are as a business and what they stand for, what they want to try to attract for their business, how they want the store to feel, how they want the look of it to be. Some different businesses want more modern, some want more a different type of architectural design, some want more of a Western inspired theme. We've seen lots of different things that have happened in the industry where you're truly creating experiences, and how you treat your customers all really matters. And so making that environment so friendly that people feel welcomed, they don't feel like they're getting stalker shopped, that you're available whenever they need assistance, but you're not so hands on that they feel like they can't really browse properly. So finding that balance of like what you want your perception of your store to be, I think is really important.
That's awesome. So, whenever we're talking through better understanding what the brand's identity is, do you have any suggestions for our small business owners in terms of how they can start incorporating or better understanding their own branding?
Yeah, I would definitely say first and foremost to think about why. Why did you start? Why did you want to have this business? What need were you trying to fill in the market? Was it something that you wanted for yourself, or was it just something that you kind of fell into? Um Here where I live locally, there is a family owned shoe store that they have owned that store for over 40 years, and the son is now taking it over. And so it's been a fun transition to watch them. But in reality, like he always knew that he wanted to be a part of that business because he grew up there with his parents. And, who knows if his next generation will carry that forward, but he always knew that it was his vision, and he's been clearly painting that for the last decade. And I think that that's really interesting and neat because they've done a full rebrand of, their business and brought it up to a more modern shoe store, but it still has that personal touch that his parents started with and originally like implemented within the store, where when you walk in, you're automatically greeted by someone who works there. They ask you if there's anything that you're specifically looking for, how they can help you, if you need your shoe size, like if you need your foot measured. All of that stuff is just like personal touches. And when you really think about like what it is that you want to offer, why it is that you want to offer, the brand that you want to build for yourself. All of those things play into then the type of merchandise you purchase, the type of things that you offer within your store. Thinking about how there are so many different things that you could do within your storefront to make your life easier through the holidays, I think is so important.
So, what are some of those ideas for storefronts that you think could really make or break a small business owner?
Yeah, so I think that there's several different opportunities throughout the holiday season where if you grabbed your calendar and went through and had those series of collections that you wanted to put together, you could also then consider how do those collections play into other opportunities that the calendar may provide. For example, like a holiday open house. That would be a great one. I used to always partner with the downtown businesses in my community to have a joint holiday open house, which meant we all had our holiday open house on the same day. We all provided some form of like food and beverage at our locations so that people could come in and mingle and shop. Generally, we would have some sort of, idea of what all other promotions we would have during the holidays. So we would go ahead and hand those out, but we would go ahead and start bringing in gift items to make sure that people saw us early and often to know that we were available for them during their holiday shopping season. And then you always want to make sure that you like showcase those items. And so as you're thinking through like a strategic approach, you would want to have items available for certain days. Another great example of that would be Pink Friday. Pink Friday is the Friday before Black Friday. It is targeted towards small boutiques. It is an opportunity for them to get out in front of the big box retailers, and they might want to have a special promotion like a free gift with every purchase over $50. So they would want to make sure that they go ahead and figure out what free merchandise they would want to do plenty in advance to make sure that they had enough quantities available for whatever they were trying to target. Um, just trying to find things like that that you could do is a huge thing that you can give your store an early opportunity to plan not only your holiday like shopping list for your inventory, but give consumers a way to plan their holiday shopping list so that you're top of mind when they're thinking of those special people in their life that they want to purchase for.
That's awesome. One thing that I have really learned a lot about is this idea of pop up shops, right? This idea of having these small little boutiques host sometimes collaborations or partnerships or a specific product launch. Those types of things really go a long ways for small businesses, especially into the holiday season. So, whenever we're talking about partnering with local merchants, how would you go about setting up those connections? Are there networking events that you're setting up? Are there opportunities to just go knock on their door and build these relationships? How did you, as a small business owner, build and maintain those relationships?
Yeah, I think if you get involved in your community, you can generally find a pulse on a type of artistry that does do those opportunities and events. I know that sometimes it can be challenging, but if you search through your community where you live and try to really define where it is that what type of events that you want to have to help bring in the right foot traffic to your store, because it could be someone that would never brace your doorstep otherwise. But if you had a paint and sip event at your shop on a Thursday night after hours, that would give an opportunity for the people that came in for the event to go ahead and shop. You could also do events, on other days that you've historically seen low sales volume. You could try to drive a collaboration where find a local artist who you can host their artwork hanging on your walls or any empty space that you have. I know personally, my daughter has started a necklace and bracelet little entrepreneur business.
Love it.
And our local grocery store that I love has a little market variety in it. And they've recently reached out and asked, what would it take for us to purchase those wholesale? Really, it's a marketing strategy for them. They know that if we have a product within their store, we're going to help campaign for them and drive foot traffic to their location from people that we know, because they would be going in there to support inevitably that person, which in this case would be my daughter. So it's a really smart tactic to try to utilize where you are supporting someone else's platform and giving them an avenue that they might not otherwise have, but you're also supporting yourself. And then you have even more of a deeper marketing impact where you can create organic marketing, which is the best kind.
Right. So let's talk about organic marketing. Summarize a little bit for me what you mean by organic marketing and how we can utilize that in a small business setting.
Yeah, so it's really engaging with your audience. Again, it goes back to what is that brand that you wanted to build? I'll use the shoe store, for example. It would be really odd if that specific shoe store was trying to give me advice on which jewelry to buy because they have no concept of
Right.
it. Okay, so let's use the shoe store, for example. They would not be someone that I would want to go and take advice for what hand soap I would want to buy or bath bombs, or I wouldn't expect to see like a gifting collectible of something of that nature there. However, I would trust them to be able to guide me on a shoe purchase or other merchandise that I know that they've carried in stock for years and years and they have lots of knowledge about it. So you want to think of that brand and what it is you're trying to cultivate. Like, what are you trying to offer to your audience? And so with that, then you can create engaging content that would pair with that. But you always want to keep in mind, no one wants to be sold to 100% of the time. So
Right.
create personable, relatable content, things that people can connect with. So if it was a shoe store, like obviously they would want to promote shoes. They would want to promote like, maybe people running or the local community. I know the local college buys a lot of gear from them. So they would obviously want to promote those things. But also then taking that personal approach and touch. I know that I have seen different social media postings of pictures of their store from back in the day where they have showcased um, newspaper clippings from his parents from 40 years ago and then a side by
How
side
cool.
store looks like now. And it's so interesting because every single time they do it, the audience that naturally, organically engages with them are all previous customers and people who have had a personal experience there. And the amount of interaction that they're getting, the organic clicks, the organic comments, all of that stuff feeds so well. And then it allows them to see opportunities when you post your selling post.
That's awesome. One thing that I'd like to kind of talk on is this idea of simplifying the holiday experience, right? So, better understanding how, as a small business owner, I can leverage what I have in store, what I have the ability to do right then to help kind of expedite the shopping experience for a small merchant. Now, with that being said, how would you give some tips and tricks around streamlining that experience for our holiday shoppers?
Yeah, so I think that that's a great question. I know that personally, there's a couple of things that I love that the community that I live close to, some of their small merchants do. So, for example, one of them is every time I go into the local jewelry store, I always know they're going to have the most elegant gift wrapping for the gifts that you purchase there. They're branded with their logo and they just look so eye appealing that every woman always loves to see one of their bags sitting underneath the Christmas tree, or for any holiday or reason. But I know, like personally, last year I was looking for something that wasn't quite as expensive as their luxury jewelry items, but I knew that they had quality jewelry items still. So I went there and bought some gifts for my nieces, and they wrapped them up for me, and I was out the door within 10 minutes. So just having that easy option to shop local, shop small, went in, was able to find what I wanted immediately. They wrapped it for me and I was out the door and it was a seamless experience. Another way that you could do that if you're not offering like personalized gift wrapping is you could consider pre-wrapping just your normal gift boxes so that you can literally take them apart, put the merchandise in, and put the lid back on. That was something I did and my friend did when we owned our storefronts, and it really cut down on the amount of time. And you could offer free gift wrapping and then have pre-made bows, and really it gave it this elegant experience because if you can imagine, people are so busy during the holidays, they don't have time to,
Right.
traditionally wrap presents, but everyone kind of loves a traditionally wrapped present. And so it is really nice to have that extra little sentiment and touch. And when people know that you offer those things or do those things, then you're the first people that they think about when they do go to shop because you've taken that work out for them. So you've already made it a more seamless experience for their busy season.
I think that's a little thing that small business owners can do that doesn't take a lot of effort, but it also maximizes, like you said, the notoriety of the business. It helps streamline the experience for our shoppers, and it really just makes the experience overall much better. That's something that a small business can do to compete with those big dogs. And, those touch points and that customer journey experience throughout our store is something where small business owners can really strive to deliver excellence. So let's talk a little bit about competing with those big dogs like Amazon and Walmart and Target. Those areas of opportunity, like you said, the small shopping or the shopping experience from a user perspective or a customer journey perspective. How would you, as a small business owner, want to maximize that capability to compete with those big dogs? What are some tips and tricks that you may have?
I really think that, there's a variety of things that you can do. Make the relationship personal. So if you have the opportunity and someone orders something from you and you're shipping it to them, I always like there's nothing better than seeing a handwritten thank you and
Absolutely.
the employee's name or the business owner's name, anyone who packed its name, just that extra little touch that whoever grabs that packing slip took the time to get their pen and write thank you. Just it makes me keep going back to be repeat customers again and again and again. Also, just making that a seamless shopping experience and carrying unique goods that you won't find in other environments. Those are really those types of things that you can compete against those big retailers because they aren't able to carry the niche products that you can because they have to have them in such mass quantities that they can't compete with you when you're starting to talk about getting, made in whatever state you live in products or local artistry products. So I know that here where I live, that there's a place that I can go and get locally made pottery. I can go and order customized pottery for gifts.
Cool.
Stuff like that is so unique. And so I know that I'm probably not 100% the norm because I'm always thinking of like, how can I make this gift special for someone that's on my list that I want to buy for? And through that, I'm always thinking, oh, like this would be a great thing to come back to. I'll give a personal example. The other day, I bought a set of bath bombs from a lady off of Etsy, and it was a small one shop business owner and lives completely across the other side of the country. And when I got the box, just the way that she had put the effort into like writing her note, the way that she had thrown in like a few little extra like little toys, like little fidget things. That wasn't expensive for her, but that added extra like pizzazz that she gave the packaging and the effort that she put into it, I definitely one would purchase again. But two, I took the time to take a picture of it, go post it in her reviews so that other people could see what the product actually looks like, give my personal opinion on like the age range that I think that the gift would be good for, all of these things. I did that just because I care. But also I think like if I'm reading reviews, that would be a great review for me to know to buy as a gift for a kid. And then also it was such a unique experience because I posted that, review of this product and it was like 30 minutes or an hour later, I got a personal message from the lady who owns the shop. And it just was thanking me for, doing that for her and how much it meant to her business. And it's just those little things that I can guarantee you I will purchase either that set again for my son or I will purchase a gift from there in the future. I've been purchasing a lot of we love bath bombs in our house and I've been using I found another lady on Etsy, and I've bought from her like 3 times now over this last year. And the other day she sent me some this is so corny, but some like lava bath bomb pieces. And
Cool.
I'm pretty sure that if I could predict into the future, an elf on the shelf would have those lava pieces in the bottom of a bathtub, and it would say something like, add water, but watch out, the floor is lava. It was such a cool thing. Like, I had ordered a pack of them, but then she upgraded the package that I had ordered and added an extra one. So now I will like, I'm gonna gift the extra bag to my sister-in-law for my niece and nephew. So, it's just those little things that, like, I guarantee you I will order at least 1 or 2 more times before the end of the year, and I'm kind of ashamed to say, but it's not a small order every time I order, but it means so much to me that she puts that effort in that I'll just keep using her now that I've found her. Like, both of those 2 experiences have made it where I will continue to use their businesses over and over again because of the experience, the personal touch, the extra effort that they went to that didn't cost them anything out of their pockets, but just a moment of their time.
Right. And I think that's how you build brand loyalty, right? Like we've seen it in action now, especially with you and your story around just a little extra piece or a little fidget goes a long ways for a consumer. And I think that it goes to show care and trust in the brand. And it also goes to show you that they are a single owned business that is striving to deliver excellence. And that's really what separates small businesses from large big box retailers. You know, one thing that is important to note too for the holiday season are these ideas of holiday promotions. We want to avoid this idea of just creating discounts for the sake of discounting because that trains your customer to simply appreciate the discount. But how can you be an effective promotion creator whenever you're creating these holiday promotions?
Yeah, so loyalty, I just talked about it. Creating some type of loyalty, like her naturally upgrading the bag that I had purchased was just like such a simple thing that she did, but it created such an impact with me that she will have my loyalty. I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. Like, she will have my loyalty and support for years to come because of the way that she treated me. So definitely focused on loyalty because loyalty drives repeat customers. It drives like increased profitability because generally those loyalty type customers are spending like a larger ticket. You can also target your however you're doing your loyalty. So like free shipping off of a $50 purchase. That's always I'm a sucker every time. You price something at $38.50 and that's the only thing I
Same.
needed. I'm going to spend an extra $20 so I can get the free shipping, and more than likely I'm going to spend an extra 30 or $40 just because I want the free shipping. And so really trying to create those opportunities where you can upsell and create a connection. But also, when I think about how can you really like create promotions that keep people coming in, you know, creating gifts, gift baskets, things that kind of go together well, can be purchased at just a slight discount, but you've already got them all pre-packaged, make them look pretty. It takes the guesswork out for so many people. I know that back in my retail days, there was a season where we had these boxes that had clear lids even, so you could see what was in there, and we would do like some winter type accessories. So it was a really easy, like one size fits all type gift, but it had like a cute little bow and a Christmas ornament hanging from it. And so it really was like the experience of being
Right.
able to give that gift, but not only it was great stuff inside of it. Like, it wasn't just stuff that nobody wants. And I think that that's something really to think about too, is like, what do you think your clients want? What can you give them through these promotions, like rather than just a deep discount? Because you're right, like when you habitually deliver discounts, your merchants will start to track their spending pattern around when you offer those promotions. And when you think about it, big stores consistently offer the same type of promotions in a rotational environment. And so eventually that gets stale. So when you're thinking about your promotions, really start to think about like, how could I make this fun for them where I drive an impact, but also I'm not just, hurting my bottom line profit. So thinking of promotions that are fun. I know d- one year we did a holiday themed like big giveaway throughout our chamber. We had different members join. And what the really cool thing was is when they participated, merchants would go in and they would get this little card for every time they made a purchase. And it was a little scratch off card. And it would be like, oh, try again, or you just won $25 credit, or you won $50 or $100 credit. Those little things, like, people loved it, and it gave them an opportunity to, like, be encouraged to shop local because they knew that there was that slight chance of getting something back.
People love the idea of gamifying the
Yeah,
solutions, right?
absolutely.
Like this idea of gamifying the lottery ticket or the scratch off ticket, it creates an excitement. It creates this engagement that drives additional sales. And I think that's important when small businesses are looking to plan a promotion, planning months in ahead and really having those honest conversations and partnering, like you said, with the Chamber of Commerce and really building those relationships and networking. All of that goes into a really solid holiday approach. So, with that, let's talk a little bit about embracing the power of experience. Embracing this idea of what the experience can be provided to as a small business owner and how I can create a user journey for the moment that somebody walks into the store, whether that be through scent, whether that be through aesthetic, whether that be through whatever it may be in the store. How can a user embrace the power and experience? How can you see that?
Whew, you're really challenging me. But I think you really think about, like, what are your biggest driving purchases, and you wanna kind of, like, linger them throughout the store. So, for example, when you walk in, you want to showcase something that is a super popular item, so that way you catch the consumer's eye as quick as possible, so they know, "Oh, I already like this store because they carry something that I'm familiar with."
Right.
Doesn't mean that they necessarily wanna buy it, but they've seen it lots of other places, so they wanna know that they're familiar with something. And so then you can naturally, like, again, thinking back to those collections, you start to formulate, like, a system of how you put things together. So if you're retail, you would want to consider, how does this top look with these jeans? How do all of these t-shirts stack together so that they can really, like, create a grab and grow type system? How does it really, like, function through your store? So start at the front door. Start at the front door, and as yourself, put yourself in the consumer shoes and walk through the store. As you think about how you're going to set up your displays, how you're going to merchandise things, really go through that buyer's journey. Think of how, you see it all the time. Retailers put little small knickknacks near the checkout area because that's an impromptu time of opportunity for people to just grab something that they did not intend to purchase and go ahead and buy it and walk out the door. It's such a great opportunity, but you have to be able to make sure that you have space for that impact. So I know, like, one retailer I know, they had their cash wrap stand built specifically to, like, have shelves out in front of it so that they could house things like a small perfume bottle or postcards and stickers and, like, little, mini kits of things that would be great, small gifts for a teacher or a great stocking stuffer. Starting to think about, like, how you would do those things for the holidays and really just navigating, so you're creating an experience as soon as somebody walks through the front door. And I think you said something really interesting. I think everybody would agree that there's certain businesses that you love to go in just because of the scent or because of
Yeah.
the experience. Like, they have a signature scent, or, like, this feel that you get when you go there. And so sometimes you don't intentionally go there for her product, but you go there for the experience and walk out the door with a product.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I think creating that environment that encourages people to spend time in your store and engage with the products, engage with the salespeople, that just creates a sense of community throughout your store. And I think whenever we're talking through community, it's really important. Again, we're going to go back to the conversation around collaboration. It's really, really important in today's times for small businesses to build a sense of community, whether that be, like you said, from a paint and sip environment where somebody is coming in after hours and doing something that's not traditionally within the store, or you're partnering with the business next door and doing a collaboration of a specific product. It can go a really long ways, especially in that holiday spirit and that holiday time when things are so crunched for time. We're all doing what we can. We're working full time. We're still driving to buy that perfect gift. There isn't an opportunity to really maximize the opportunity to look around. right? So we want to be able to really grab something and go. And I love the idea of the baskets and putting a cute little ornament. Something like that for me would go a really long ways because I'm not somebody who can wrap. I will honestly admit it. I cannot wrap both literally and physically. I cannot wrap. But with that being said, it goes a long ways to have those gifts pre-wrapped, to have those things ready and accessible to the everyday person. And I think it goes back to this idea of making holiday shopping personal, right? Like engaging the customer and meeting them where they are. So, how could you meet a customer where they are if times are tough, right? So, in the economy that we're living in, times can be a little tough. How can we meet our merchants or our consumers where they are in the business?
Yeah, I would think about the type of, again, like back to the type of products you want to sell. Um, I I use so many experiences from like firsthand experiences because I feel like it's so personable and it really matters. But like the jewelry store that I live by, super high scale. They have people drive from a larger metropolitan city out towards where I live just to visit it because of their customer service and the quality of products that they provide. But they also know that there is an opportunity for them to get those niche items. So they're well quality crafted jewelry, but on a lower price scale. And again, like I knew that I could instantly go in there. I had already shopped all up and down Main Street looking for something for my nieces. They're uh 18 and 21. So of course, like trying to find something towards their age range that would resonate with
Right,
them that just wouldn't land in a drawer. I've, decided, okay, I'm going to go in there. This is my last ditch effort before I just buy them a gift card somewhere.
right.
And that's when I stumbled across these beautiful earrings, and I actually ruined the surprise for one of my nieces, and I FaceTimed her, and I was like, "Hey, do you like these?" And she was like, "Oh my gosh, I love those." And I was like, "Well, what do you think your sister will like?" And she was like, "Oh, she won't care, just pick something." And so I did, but it was such a like they were so excited then, and then they were so excited to know that they got something that came from, like, this fancy jewelry store, but yet it still met me where I needed to be on, like, my financial budget, and it really wasn't, like, something extreme that I would have spent that somewhere else or in a gift card. So it really was being able to offer those opportunities for those lower price tag items. But if you think about it, if you're a store that habitually has sold, a lower price point items, you may also need to scale up. Think about the merchant,
Mm.
think about the consumer that might be looking for, if you've traditionally carried $20 sweatshirts, think about the consumer that might be looking for something a little bit more well made, a little more quality. They want to give something that may last a little longer and not be something that you would only wear for a few seasons. You need to also consider like how can you financially afford to maybe consider those like scaling opportunities where someone comes in the door for that $20 sweatshirt but they love the $50 sweatshirt and that's the one that they walk out the door with.
Yeah, absolutely. And,
Creating that environment that all products that are centralized around your brand and what you want to offer, but really like keeping a very granular landscape in mind. And if you don't provide, $100 items, don't go feel like you have to. That isn't your niche. Focus on where you are and how you meet your customers because I think that's what you said. Like how do you meet them where they are? Like you think about who are your customers traditionally and how do you best like position yourself to really provide opportunities for them to purchase from you and then also make sure that they tell their friends and keep coming back.
absolutely. I think that's so important. This idea of vocalizing like I had a great experience and it goes back to the where you took time out of your day to write a review and it goes to show you that people care about each other. They care about the ratings, they care about the reviews, they care about word of mouth marketing and that can go really really far for a small business owner. And it's through creating memorable experiences within your store that allow you to have those positive influences on the community and on the customer itself. So whenever we're thinking about building a culture, whenever we're wanting to build that culture in our store, how do you see that as more of a opportunity rather than an obstacle?
I think it's, you know, I community can do wonders. If you think about it, anytime you know, someone is impacted, and I hate to use this as an example, but Whenever someone is impacted negatively, who is it that helps them? It is a community that rallies
Right.
around them and lifts them up. I've seen it time and time again, no matter the situation. It is a community that rallies around and lifts them up. And if you can relate to your consumers, like your end users, whoever is purchasing your products, that you are a person, you have a vision, you are just trying to, like everyone else, you're trying to make your dreams continue to happen, and that is what is important to you, and you create that relationship, you're building a community, and that naturally creates like this culture around you of people that are like-minded. I know that, we both are big people who care about like culture and how we make
Right.
other people feel, and we're always cognitively aware of that. But I think it's in reality, like, no one wants to be treated bad. And so you think about that, and like you want to make sure that you exemplify that in your culture, like how you treat people, the way that you talk to them, the way that like if you just crumble their packing slip and throw it in their package, if you don't take the time to fold the merchandise that you've thrown in, I can tell you there have been so many times that I have bought from the same big box store over and over and over again because of the convenience
Right.
and the care of the people that are like packaging the stuff that I purchase is on a very wide scale. And it is amazing how hit and miss that situation is. Like it surprises me all the time how I can get a box from them from the same order, and one item can be broken because it came from one distribution area, and another item can be packed in bubble wrap. But this other item, no one even thought to put the bubble wrap on it. So it's just those differences of like, how do you show up and care naturally builds a culture, naturally builds this community, the way that you interact with them, like post content. I know lots of small businesses are afraid of what content to post, but post content, post things that are relatable, post your items, post funny like inspirational memes, things that relate to who you are as a human. You will find your people, you will build your tribe, and they will support you until the ends of the earth and help you really like relish in this world that we're living in.
Absolutely. I think that's such a good call out. Find your tribe. And doing so will allow you to find your customer base. And I think that they go hand in hand, right? This idea of building a culture, specifically even around holiday season. You have an entirely different culture around the holiday season that you may have in the middle of summer, right? And this idea is because I've cultivated so much of my community, I've built and established these connections. My goal is to make them want to shop at my store first of mine. That's going to be what it is, and how I can have them show up for me and support me. One thing that I think we should talk about, though, is building loyalty beyond the holidays. How do I, as a business owner, ensure that I'm building that loyalty? Is it through those touch points? Is it through those experiences that I've given in the holiday season? How would you suggest that I build loyalty beyond the holiday season?
Yeah, I think it's continuing to provide that great service, all throughout the year. Where I live, there's a new little coffee shop that just opened, and everyone in town is buzzing about it because where I specifically live, there isn't there wasn't a coffee shop in our local town. We had to drive, 10 miles away to go get a cup of coffee. And so the fact that they've added this like new experience into their already existing business was just like an additional way that they saw, okay, this is a need that my consumers have, and this is how I want to best serve them. And so really it's like, oh, okay, this is something that I can offer my community as a special added touch. They picked and sourced the right people. And now, like, I mean, it's still summer in Oklahoma, and I've bought coffee more in the last 2 weeks than I have ever in my life just because it's the experience. Like, I'm a sucker. They keep having me come back for more. And, it's awesome. And so I think you really try to figure out like what are those things that you can do all throughout the year to make people feel welcomed and open into coming into your store, browsing with you. you can have holidays aren't the only time of the year that you can really focus on having open houses or having events. There are plenty of times all throughout the year where you could host a sip and paint event, or you could host a local artist, or for that matter, like a local acoustic singer, or something new that I noticed is happening in our community. They have pianos out in front of like all of these new, like not new businesses, but like all these local businesses. There's all of a sudden these pianos. They're old pianos, but they have artists just specifically painting them for each business. And they just sit out in front of their business. They're like chained to a post or something, but they're like open for anyone to come play. So making it like fun for people to come no matter what time of the year it is just makes it, all that more engaging and interesting. I know personally, I've drove all across, the country, different places before to try to go somewhere to experience like their store and shop with them. We've all done it for like going somewhere to eat. And it doesn't have to be just a certain time of the season. And you can really start to think, okay, like what could I do in the spring? Like, okay, St. Patrick's Day. If, I wanted to, I could have a lucky promotion, do shamrocks and think of like doing where you can draw a shamrock and every shamrock has a discount on it. And maybe the discount is different for every shamrock and, it's a gamified experience. I know for our local homecoming, they do a ping pong ball drop. So they put the different business names all around that want to participate in it. And then they put the discounts all, like they tape them to the ping pong balls. And then they drop the ping pong balls down on the main street. And then people pick them up. And then they go visit the businesses and they use them to, like, it drives traffic to purchase them. And they're only valid for that one day. But it's something fun that there are so many
Right.
people that love to go to it just because it's the opportunity for them to, be met where they are in their financial need, and then also have the opportunities to still purchase what they want.
That's amazing, Amanda. Thank you so much for your time today. It has been such an insightful conversation. I think some really important recaps that we should probably touch on before we leave is, guys, we encourage early planning, emphasize the importance of starting holiday prep as soon as possible, connect via the community, and make it memorable. Focus on creating joyful, seamless customer experiences that keep shoppers coming back well beyond the holidays, because this season, it's not just about selling, it's about being remembered. Beyond the Register is sponsored by Genius, the modern point-of-sale system from Global Payments designed for retailers. Genius helps you reach your most important goals, whether that's simplifying your operations, tracking inventory, managing customer insights, or taking payments wherever your business takes you. To find out more, visit globalpayments.com/genius.